Yo guys, it's up Shadow here, and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. It's been a while, at least for me. Actually, probably also been a while for you since last Space Engineers. Right, so what are we up to today? I think we should probably try to get back into this bad boy over here. Not quite sure. The hydrogen tanks are not that full, but I'm also not quite sure if we're actually refilling the hydrogen tanks properly, because that's a thing you have to do, if I'm not mistaken. You have to go, let's see, hydrogen tanks. No, these are not. Are these my tanks? Hold on. See here. Let's go to the inventory real quick. Go only this ship. Hydro. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrogen tanks. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think these are those. I'm not quite sure these ones. I'm not quite sure about those. There's a group here with the hydrogen tanks, but I think these are mine. Actually, I could... Hold on. I could verify this very easily by just releasing the docking mechanism real quick. And there we go. Yeah, these are my own hydrogen tanks. So... Thanks. I'm just gonna call it ship so I know. Okay, now. There we go. So. Now we could go, I think. Is it auto refill? No. Stockpile? Also no. What do I have to do so these are filled? Hold on, is there... Oh! I've just connected with the... Yeah, I see. Now we should be connected. There we go. Yeah, now we have a lot more stuff. Right. Yeah, see, now we have these as well. Okay. So, right now... These have auto refill on. Oh, see, now they're filled. They're instantly full. Excellent. So, let me dock off again. And then I think we'll turn them on. Right? Something is weird right now. Oh, wait, if they're on refill, I don't think they'll fire? What? No? Or is it because we're on stockpile? Are we on stockpile right now? We are. Okay. There we go. Actually, I have to release the other button there. Well, no, I'll keep it there so we can separate these two. Okay, so we have 100% hydrogen. I'm just gonna fly around now a little bit just to see how quickly these deplete. Oh, is it just me or is there clanging? It does sound like there's a bunch of clanging. But yeah, okay, so the hydrogen is depleting reasonably slowly, I would say. Do we have any, what's it called? Ice in our generator? No, we do not. Okay, so that means this is feasibly good when it comes to the tanks. Which means now we'll have to deal with the script. Now, I'm not quite sure that I have it saved. Otherwise, I'll have to search for it real quick. So, yeah, I'll have to search for it. I think it's from Whip, if I'm not completely wrong. Let me just check real quick. You won't see this at the moment because I'm in the workshop right now. I think I just have to search for his stuff and then we'll be able to see this. There's a turret overlay. I think I found it recently. Well, hold on a sec. I'll have to check this. Okay, so it's not called that. Well, or rather, I found another one more quickly. Vector Trust OS, apparently. So let's copy that. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Ooh! Wow! That just happened. Wow, interesting. Okay. So in the basic guide it says add the controller and the programmable block. I think the controller means this here. Add the vector thrusters, download the script, set up the buttons, either use control module. Or use a run on the programmable block. Interesting. So they move around. I just cannot quite tell how. So if I go forwards, the other one. Okay. Okay. So these work, but if I go backwards, these go up for some reason. They do not add to the forward thrust. However, they kind of break. No. Okay, there's something weird about those. Then if I... Hold on. If I go up, these all go up. And if I go down... Okay, there is something sketchy about that. That's very strange. I'll probably have to take a more advanced look into that script because it feels like it's a very complex script and it also feels like it's a very useful script. But Jesus, this is all wrong. I wonder, can I... Let's see, can I see something on these? On the programmable block, perhaps? Is there any hint? Okay, let's see. Remaining greedy, true, angle objective, main reference, control seed. Jesus, there's so much information here. My goodness. Okay. I'll have to read into that. That was a very off-the-top thing that I just did, and obviously it doesn't quite work. But mainly I can say the amount of tanks seems to be good enough for now, which means we can use this as a prototype. I just have to figure out that freaking script. But yeah, we'll dock and then we'll turn these off. Jesus. Also, it turns thrusters off and on dynamically. Did you see that? Very strange. Okay. Yes, that is interesting. So we have a script. It just doesn't seem to work at the moment. But we'll figure it out. All right. So what else can we do? Obviously, we still have our little thing up here, which... Ooh, oh, okay, there's an asteroid in the way. Which will become a sort of major platform up here. There's probably going to be another solar panel, and also probably going to be some sort of living quarter, most likely. But yeah, we'll just slap a few steel plates down here. We'll also have to pull the conveyors up here as well, because if we have a living quarter up here, it obviously will have some oxygen to deal with. So do that. And I kind of want to make a fancy little airlock thingy with timer blocks, if potentially. Well, I'll see how I'll do it, but I have an idea how to do it. Because I always find it annoying if you have to, like, manually, you know, close your door, depressurize, stuff like that. I mean, most of the time I don't even bother with the depressurizing because it's just too much of a hassle. But yeah, you can set it up with timer blocks reasonably good, actually. So we'll see about that. I think this amount of blocks, I think that's a good start. And then probably the solar will probably pull like a 3 wide walkway up to here, and then we'll have that solar panel, the last one. Well, not sure if it's the last one, but the next one, we'll have it there. But yeah, that's how we're doing it. I'm always like side-eyeing like a little guide that I have open for that script, and it looks complicated. But I guess once you got it done, it's supposedly easily. But I think I have to screw around with it first in creative mode. Because the problem might be that I've built the ship before I had the script, so to speak, and therefore I might have not built it correctly. But we'll see. We'll see if that works that way, because it feels like the thrusters always go in like the opposite directions I want them to go, which almost feels like there's a problem with the orientation. It thinks like the ship is supposed to be the other way around, and maybe that's an easy fix potentially, but we'll see. We'll figure this out. Again, I'll play around with it a little bit in creative mode. It's probably easiest there, because if something goes wrong, I can quickly reconfigure it. But yeah, but that happens if you do something spontaneous. It most likely will not work. That's how it is. But yeah, so far, I think though we're doing great with that design. Again, if this works from the amount of hydrogen we have, then we should be fine. And I think thruster-wise, it's still okay. Just we'll have to fit a few more things on it before we can make landfall. There needs to be some like basic necessities on it, like a small cargo container where we can put some basic materials for stuff like building a battery and a turbine. I'm not quite sure if will have to be like flexible, because we cannot guarantee that the turbine will work on the planet we're landing on. I'm not quite sure if this is the Mars-like or the Petrum, and I'm not quite sure these have an atmosphere. Well, the Petrum does, I think, but the Mars-like does not, or a reduced one. So turbines might not be as useful there. So yeah, we'll have to kind of have options, you know, for solar panels, for example. And obviously a survival constructor, so we can, you know, just start making some basic stuff. But obviously the survival constructor would only be like an emergency thing if things go wrong. It would be better if we could just take down enough gear to make a decent assembler and this refinery setup. But that takes a lot of material. We'll have to see if we can pack it onto that ship. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm not quite sure how big this is going to be in the end. If it's just going to be just a small hull around it, or if we're going to make it a little bit chunkier, a little bit more massive, so we can, you know, take advantage of that and then put more cargo in it. But that will, of course, also mean that we'll put more... I have to put more thruster power in it. I'm kind of debating if I should also put in a parachute at least. So, you know, I think that works on all planets, but I'll have to try. You know, we could save ourselves some thruster stress, so to speak. will take way less hydrogen if we can just sail down with the parachute. Just the question is it going to be enough to have one parachute for a heavy aircraft like that? But yeah, again, we'll see. We'll see. But it would be kind of interesting to incorporate a few more things in it. Actually, the parachute hatch, is that for large? Yeah, that goes for large vehicles as well. I only used it in small ones so far. For like, in creative, for like designing drop pods to shoot onto a planet and stuff like that. And I mostly do those in small block. But I decided, yeah, for the ship, I think a large grid is probably cooler. Also easier, I think. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. But the script looks promising. I'll say that. And I think as soon as I figured it out, we'll start construction on that bad boy. Because I'm kind of curious if it works correctly. One, how cool it's gonna look if these thrusters fly around like dynamically like that. And two, I'm kind of interested if it's gonna blow up with clang and everything, you know? That's the other thing, but yeah. I guess one always has to kind of anticipate the clang. That's just how it is. You just have to accept it and live with it. I mean, today it's a bit better than it was years ago, but yeah. Basically back then a rotor well, we didn't have hinges, but a rotor was a death sentence in waiting, essentially. Pistons too. I mean, yeah. It was just building your ship, basically building a living bomb onto your ship. It was kind of funny sometimes, but yeah. Also, sometimes stuff would just like fly away because of weird physics shenanigans. It would like push itself off the ground. It was really strange. But what can you do? What can you do? Oh, I'm still kind of like really excited since the last 2 days. You know, when I was on holiday, I wasn't really thinking about like playing games and stuff like that, which is good, right? You know, when I'm on holiday, I want to think only of holiday, essentially. I want to be living there in the moment, right? But as soon as I got back, I was like thinking, it's only like 7 days and then Immortal Empire is gonna release, and it's only like a few months and then Darktide is gonna release, and there's so much stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm really happy. Especially Darktide, I'm kind of curious because right now we have a little group where we play Vermintide together every once in a while. And I've played it before, mostly in single player, because I just matching with like random people sometimes is really strange, because the thing is with like 4-player co-op games, if these people don't have the same like vibe and speed as you do, then it really gets awkward, you know. Sometimes often actually when I play these games, I'm very like methodical. I'm very going through the level like very slowly. I'm searching for things, and there's just sometimes, yeah, there's people who are in a rush. They want to finish a level as quickly as possible, and that's just annoying. And the thing is, if you play obviously with a group that you know, you can kind of communicate at least, and you know what you're doing. But yeah, played a lot of Vermintides like solo. I'm kind of looking forward to Darktide, how that's gonna go. But I think it's gonna be quite fun. Maybe a bit more heavy on ranged weaponry. Although to be fair, Vermintide also has its fair share of ranged weaponry, especially with like the newer class that they put in, the Dwarven Engineer with his minigun special ability. That was kind of silly. But yeah. It's one of these games as well, unfortunately, or one of these game types that's plagued with like nickel and diming DLC, which is kind of infuriating sometimes. But I really think that's a thing that we won't get rid of anymore. It's just how it works at this point. It's how like game devs work. It's how game devs finance themselves or studios. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, it's very unfortunate. In some games, I don't mind it that much. It really kind of depends on if it's good amount of content or not, you know? For example, again, Total Warhammer, the Blood DLC, that's freaking stupid. It was essentially a DLC that added, well, blood effects to the game because there wasn't any in the game. And it's not like it was an option to activate them. No. They put it in a DLC because I think the trick about that was if it's an option you can activate, it still counts like as, oh, it's in the game for the H rating. If it's not, and it's a DLC, then the DLC itself probably has an H rating of, I don't know, probably for Total War Warhammer it's probably like 16 plus or something. Probably because it's not that brutal, but still, it's a wider range of age, of course, if you can sell it for like 12. What is it? Peggy 13, I think. It's some, depends on the area you're in, I suppose. But yeah, it's kind of weird because you're paying for something that should be an option, which is really bad. But then there's like, you know, like racial DLCs that unlock a lot of stuff, and if you don't buy them, they're still in the game. You just can't play them, which, you know, for some people that's fine. There's probably some people that say, I don't need to play as this faction because I don't like them anyway. And then they just won't buy that DLC, and the faction will be in the game for them as an enemy, but they just, yeah, they won't have to deal with it themselves. That's okay. Sometimes it just feels weird. I guess one has to be very, like, vigilant on these DLCs and decide from you know, from every situation to every situation if it's okay, I guess, for them. I mean, you cannot tell other people to not enjoy their DLCs if they really do. You know, just as in the same way as I cannot force people to not pre-order games because I think it's not a good idea. I can do it myself, but you cannot force people. You will never be able to do that. And if a practice is you know, just far spread enough among most people and you don't like it, well, I guess that's just how it's gonna be. I mean, you can try and convince people, but yeah, difficult, very difficult, especially on stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you know, for me, fortunately enough, it's not that much of a problem when it comes to finances, when it comes to like buying DLCs and stuff. But still, I mean, there's like extreme like cases where DLCs and in-game shops go to realms which are unfathomable, like Diablo Immortal. No, Diablo Immortal. There's enough videos on that out there which explain every little crazy mechanic they put in to psychologically squeeze more money out of here, and I find it disgusting. There's people who probably don't care, but yeah, Jesus, how to ruin a good franchise, I suppose. But yeah, all right. I think let's extend it a little bit more, right to the end here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's one more row, and then like this. That's where the conveyor is gonna go. And then up here we're gonna have a little habitat of some sort, of some description. I'm not quite sure how big I'm gonna make it, but yeah. I think though first the solar panel is gonna go up, just because it just benefits us more, honestly. But yeah, that's gonna be the next thing we do. Unless, again, when I figure out the script, we're just gonna go right into the ship. Because I think we need a little bit of a change up, a bit more ship design, because, you know, building bases is fun, but sometimes you just want to do something else. So designing that ship and then in due time going to the planet would be interesting. Of course, I'm not quite sure when we go to the planet, if one, it's gonna go well, or two, if what we're actually gonna do on the planet. I figure building a small little base there would be interesting. But yeah, in theory, I don't have an in-game sense to go there, because there's not much of a rewarding thing on there, you know? That's really the most unfortunate thing. And I'm just thinking about, like, again, I'm playing a little bit of Satisfactory next to it, and that's also kind of like, you know, I don't want to say similar, but you also build stuff, you explore, you craft things, and there I'm much more incentivized to explore every nook and cranny, because there's things that, you know, cannot be found at in the area I started. You know, there's like a resource scarcity in some areas, and then you have to go to other areas and find new resources there. There's hidden things, and that's just something that's really missing from this game, isn't it? I mean, yeah, the last thing they added that added a little bit of like, ooh, you can get some special thing, is these weird, like, the little drone things. And let's be honest, at least for me, that wore off very quickly, that novelty of, oh, you might get a skin. And even if, you know, you can get resources from them, but it's not worth it in, like, most of the cases. And I don't know if the devs are a bit afraid of making resource scarcity more of a thing, you know, by putting certain resources only in certain locations. And maybe it's also a problem that the game is not stretched out enough. Because, yeah, obviously there's the platinum is only in space. And what do you need platinum for? You need it for ion thrusters, which you only need in space. So that's like a tier step, you know? You're going from atmospheric and hydrogen. Hydrogen are the thrusters you most likely are going to use. You're going from these thrusters to the ion thruster. Now, there should be like more steps, in my opinion. And if there are more steps, you would be able to space it out a lot more. And, you know, maybe incentivize people to go to other planets, you know? Maybe the ion thrusters would just be tier 1. But the problem with that is that, of course, the ion thrusters are maybe even too efficient or even right now for you to even consider upgrading. Maybe. I don't know. There's also the problem with the max speed, of course, that since there's like a very fixed max speed that can actually be reached quite quickly, it doesn't really make sense to have better thrusters, because all it's gonna do, it's gonna get you there like a second faster to that max speed. Well, maybe you can actually build less of them. That might be interesting for design purposes, but still, it's just not a big incentive to go after these things, which, yeah, that might be the big problem here. That's not enough like tiers to strive towards. Not enough like different technology that you only unlock further down the line by finding new resources, you know? But how interesting would that be, that you would maybe know that, oh, for this thruster tier we need, I don't know, some weird alien material, and that's only found on Mars, so we'll have to go to Mars. But then you could add new challenges, that Mars has a certain environment that you need to be able to deal with, you know, maybe toxic gas, maybe radiation, stuff like that. It then adds so much more tools to play with, which then in turn could use more different materials, which you need to get from more different areas. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just not the direction they want to go in, and fair enough. But I really think it's something that's missing. Because yeah, you can design all these super cool ships for what we imagine are different, interesting purposes, but they're never, or almost never, gonna be used for these purposes. Because why would you build like a super complicated ship that could withstand this and that and is made for this purpose, and you can just build the basic ship that everyone does, like the you know, like the Minecraft house? It's kind of maybe that problem, that yeah, you can build a very intricate, highly decorated house, but it's not gonna do much more than your standard dirt house that you build on day one. It's just a visual thing. And you know, Minecraft has other ways to entice you to explore, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot of things that you cannot unlock in the first like hours when you don't have access to certain areas. But yeah, I think that's a big problem with Space Engineers, that as soon as you go to space, basically you have reached endgame. There's nothing more. And yeah, you know, maybe you find exploring planets just for the sake of exploring interesting. But then again, you could probably play No Man's Sky if you want to do that. It does it a lot better actually than this game, and you have a lot more planets to explore. But yeah, okay. So at least we got something done today. Well, we got this done today, and we now got knowledge of this, that this has the potential to work. And knowledge is power, and knowledge is half the battle, and the more you know, and everything. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, I'm going to read into the script and hopefully figure out how it works. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and take care.